any type of game that's coming up right now, you cannot sleep on these teams, especially the New York Giants, because they're playing tough. They're not the Cleveland Browns. They will play much better and more sharper with some returning players coming back and some players that are not going to be playing. Saquon Barkley going to MetLife for the first time since he signed with the Eagles. We're going to be going through all of this stuff. So let's get straight into it.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. I hope everybody is enjoying their work week. So we have a lot to discuss today regarding the Philadelphia Eagles, the New York Giants. This is the first division game for the Philadelphia Eagles. And with these games, very important because you got to win these games. We said really since the bye week, the next 4 games are beatable, but it really depends on what the Eagles do here offensively and defensively. The number one issue when it comes to the Eagles is really themselves, who they have to get by, who they have to beat. They have to beat themselves from, stupidity, play calling, and other things like that. And I think this is a team in the New York Giants that plays really tough. And, I think the next 2 weeks are going to be tough because these teams aren't, going down. These teams are going down swinging, okay? And when you catch them off guard, I'm telling you, they catch you off guard, that's it. I mean, it's just going to take one punch to knock you out. And I hope the Eagles do not get into that situation. And I'm going to be talking about that in this video as well. Saquon Barkley, players that leave specific teams that they were drafted by or whatever, whether they get traded or get signed somewhere else. Saquon Barkley's going back to MetLife. He does say something about, going back to MetLife for the first time since he's been a Philadelphia Eagle. Says, I don't expect a great reaction. I don't expect to be booed. This rivalry was there before me, and it's going to be there after me. So speaking like a true professional, Saquon Barkley says what he says, not giving the Giants any type of bulletin board material. Okay, he's going to show off on the field. Now, in these types of games, you don't want to force feed Saquon Barkley just because he's back. He's going to have a little extra juice. He's going to be a little pissed off. He's going to be amped up. He's going to be ready to go. But you don't want to force feed too much on him. You want him to get the touches, but where it makes sense. I think that's going to be great. So I really want them just to be careful with this. Use all your weapons, make sure everybody gets involved, and that's where it's really going to count, really going to matter. But if you think Saquon Barkley doesn't care about this game or it's just a normal game to him, all these players that face their former teams always say this shit. He didn't necessarily say it, but he's being a true professional at what he's saying to not give the bulletin board material to the New York Giants, because the Giants have a lot more to worry about defensively than just Saquon Barkley in this offense. That's just one of many, but I want Saquon Barkley to prove to the Giants, like, look at me around all these weapons and look how they're using me and look how successful I am. You made the mistake of letting me walk into free agency. As soon as they let him walk into free agency, as soon as they said, oh, we want you to walk into free agency, but we want to match the number, he was already done with the conversation. If they want him around that badly, that's what they do. So we'll see what happens in that situation. Now, it comes to the Eagles' injuries. So it looks like Dallas Goedert is going to be missing a few weeks. This has been the norm for Dallas Goedert. He's at 29 years old right now. Grant Calcaterra, man, he played really good last week. 64 yards on, I forgot how many catches, 4, 5, something like that. 64 yards, fantastic. Had 2 really big plays in that game last week. Calcaterra's a horrible blocker, but man, that guy can run routes. He can catch. He can get in open space. He can do whatever you want. And man, I didn't really see him get too many yak yards like that so many times in the game, and I was actually really happy for him. I don't know who your tight end 2 is going to be for this game. It's going to be most likely Albert O or probably Jack Stahl in this game come this week. The depth, I would kind of stay away from the double tight end sets unless you're running the football. But I really want the wide receiver 3s to be involved. Jahan Dotson especially, because they did target him 3-4 times. One for the back of the end zone that was overthrown. He had a first down in the game. So Jahan Dotson, really want to see him more involved in this game if he gets the opportunity. But Calcaterra looking really good right now, and we'll see what happens. It looks like Darius Slay is trending to play on Sunday. I know. I said the same thing. I really just want another play. Keely Ringo or Isaiah Rodgers, guys that want to hit and they want to sacrifice their bodies, making millions of dollars. You know what I mean? I mean, with Slay, it's his farewell tour. He's just like, I feel like he's full, he's fine, he's got nothing to work for. He just feels as if, if the team is successful, great. If they're not, I don't know. I feel like the mindset with Darius Slay is elsewhere when it comes to this team. And I don't really like that at all. If you're not going to tackle, you're not going to be so physical. Let me tell you, when Ringo made that hit last game, like boom, like right on the ground, it was fantastic. Isaiah Rodgers is a physical cornerback. Yes, I think the main issue with this defense the last couple of weeks, especially with the cornerbacks, we need turnovers. That's number one. Defensively, in general, need turnovers. But number two, man, they're giving up way too much cushion with these cornerbacks. I'm really tired of it. If you give up this much cushion, man, your defensive line is literally going to disappear. I mean, they're non-existent when you give that much cushion. Don't blame the defensive line when you're giving that much cushion up in a game. I get it. The defense gives multiple fronts. I get it. You have to do this sometimes. It's like they play off the ball, give all this stuff underneath until they hit red zone defense, and then they tighten up. I just don't like that. And if you're going to tighten up, dude, we need a turnover right now. Quinyon Mitchell just sucked that he didn't get one. He should have had like 4 picks this year already. But Slay coming back, am I excited about it? But at the same time, it is what it is. I hope he plays well. But, man, I just want guys. I really just, just want these young guys to get opportunities, man. And obviously, they did have some opportunities to get out of the game, but thank God the Eagles do have depth. And I thought the Eagles played a little bit better without Slay in this game to be the game last week against the Cleveland Browns. So, we'll see what happens with that. But that's really the only injury so far. It seems like everyone else is pretty healthy. Obviously, Jordan Mailata is going to be out for about 6 weeks, a couple to 6 weeks. I don't know how many weeks it's going to be with the hamstring. But Fred Johnson will be playing at that left tackle spot. But what's good about Fred Johnson being at left tackle for this week is that Kayvon Thibodeau is not going to be playing in this game. Okay, so usually he is on that side. I think he is. But we'll see what happens with that. So we'll see how they're going to try to the Giants are going to try to create pressure. Dexter Lawrence is a monster. He's probably one of their best player on defense, most likely. Andrew Thomas, their left tackle, is out as well for the rest of the season. I think he tried getting a second opinion on a foot injury. I guess it just seemed like I guess there was just no point that he was going to be able to come back. So he will not be back the rest of the season. So that's a big loss for them. Brian Burns is another guy defensively, got paid a lot of money. I don't think he's really worked out or producing as much as they expected him to. Brian Burns only has about 3 sacks for the year, which maybe seems a little bit low, but run support, not too bad. But he hasn't really shown up too much for that defense. Offensively, you're getting Malik Neighbors back, which is big. He's going to be a superstar. But I think the only bad thing about Malik Neighbors being on the Giants is that I don't think he's going to get enough production with that offense, with that offensive line, and obviously with that quarterback going forward. Devin Singletary, not sure. He's probably back for the New York Giants, so they get their top back in that offense. Wan'Dale Robinson, great receiver in the slot. I think he's really flourished this year. I liked Wan'Dale Robinson I think he was from Kentucky. I really want him as a second-round pick for the Eagles. A very good player. Hyatt's got that speed. So they have some, Slayton's got a lot of veteran presence with the Giants and could take over if things go south, if things go sour for them offensively. But, Daniel Jones hasn't played the best the last couple of weeks, but I thought against the Seahawks he played really well. And against the Bengals, it was back and forth a little bit. And Jones was still struggling a little bit. I'm hoping to get a pick off of Daniel Jones this week, get some sacks on him. But I think theoretically, this is a team that you really cannot look past. Okay? I think the Giants are going down swinging. Okay? And if they catch you off guard, if the Eagles just passively think that they're going to walk into MetLife and take care of this team, and trust me, there's nothing more than I want than a dominating performance by this offense. Dominating performance. I would absolutely love it. But the problem I have right now is the consistency on offense, play calling, why there's no read options, why is everything in shotgun, why is there no play action off of runs, which makes absolutely no sense. I remember last year they were doing play action so much and barely running the football. Like, why? If you're doing play action, run the football. Like, no one's going to fall for it. And, if you look at the chart for Jalen Hurts from last game, it's not good, man. I mean, you had the green spot at the top of the chart was pretty much, I think that was a Calcaterra pass. and everything else has really been to the side. Nothing has really been at the hash, to be honest with you. And it really sucks because you've had two mesh concepts with Devontae Smith, one in the second quarter, one and then another in the second half that was really a touchdown, which was great. So they went back to that play. You know, Hurts had a good game, but still, like, there's just this offense is being held back like there's no tomorrow. Like, still, it's still like just not enough for me, man. It's just not enough. You saw the charts with Kellen Moore and Keenan Allen have his best year of his career, over 30 years old, and with the Chargers, and you saw these passing charts was all middle, mostly. It was just kind of insane seeing all these teams around the league doing different things. You know, the offense is looking very diverse, looking very different. You know, and the Eagles don't really show much of that. There was a few plays in the Cleveland Browns game where I was like, oh, they did that, but there's some times where I'm like, oh, it's the same thing over and over again. And it seems very robotic. It doesn't look like the offense doesn't look fast. The quarterback doesn't look fast enough. I don't know. It seems like people, players might be going through the motions. I don't know. The offense is just never a quick pace play. I just feel like everything's in slow motion, looks very robotic half the times. I don't know. But they really have to really expand on these players' skill sets because they're not getting the best out of everybody. I'm sorry, but they're not. I thought the number one thing they did great last week was, I think, distributing the football really well. I thought a lot of guys made plays. Like, it wasn't just one guy, two guys. Like, everybody got a piece of the ball last week, and that's great. It takes pressure off everybody else, and if everybody's making plays, it's a fantastic thing. That's why Hurts had a game like he did, which was not a bad game. The distribution was definitely a part of it. Get the run game going. Your run game wasn't really the big aspect last week, but this week potentially could. Dexter Lawrence, obviously the best player on defense, and have to watch out for him. And hopefully Mekhi Becton and Juergens could take care of him a little bit to the middle, to the right side. So we'll see what happens going in that direction. But like I said, this is a Giants team that's fighting. This is a fighting team. They're not as bad as everyone says they are. The record says for it the most, but they fight and they will catch you off guard. And let me tell you, the Eagles usually own the Giants, but I'm very realistic with it. Very realistic about the New York Giants and how they've looked. I'm from New York, so I get to watch these games when the Eagles aren't playing, and locally, and I get to see what they look like. Do they have their faults? Yes. Do they look fantastic? No. But compared to what the Eagles look like, up and down, never consistent, this team could possibly beat you this week. And I'm just being very realistic. But the Eagles should really dominate this game, no doubt. Starts in the trenches and between the weapons and everything like that. The run game with Saquon Barkley, and I'm hoping distribute the ball a little bit more and get some other guys involved. And I feel good about Calcaterra going into this game. So we will see what happens. Let me know what you guys think about the New York Giants. Are you kind of thinking this is going to be an easy win, or do you think, the Eagles might have some trouble this game? And Saquon Barkley, it seems like he really needs to have. I really want him to have a big game in this game, and we'll see what happens. So Eagles got some injuries this week. Calcaterra going in at tight end, Fred Johnson at left tackle, all of that great stuff. And that's pretty much about it. We'll have more to talk about in the coming days. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day. Make sure you like the stream. Helps out the channel tremendously. And I will see you guys on the next one. Shakes what up, follow us. Peace out, guys. Peace.